Welcome to the Day in Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading, and today is April 19, 2023, and today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, last Friday we had JP Morgan beat its profit targets in its earning report, and then we had a gap up and go, and now it even extended its gains. But first, looking at the major economic events of today. So earlier this morning at 9 a.m. South African time, out of Great Britain, we had a monthly CPI number coming out, and as a result, the British pound extends its rally higher versus the US dollar. Now, looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ trickling lower, looking at commodities, gold and oil pretty much unchanged. Now, looking at the stocks, JP Morgan has been really strong, and this is something to take note of in the current environment that we're in. Lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin just hovering at 30K. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the British pound first. And as you can see, it extended that gain once again this morning to 124. Nice little gain. Now, our resistance again is 125.40. So keep that in mind. If this does continue to make this upwards momentum, it can continue as we're breaking that 30-day moving average higher. Okay, but it's still hovering around resistance. Okay, 25.40 being that resistance-ish area. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting because the Japanese yen has gotten weaker versus the dollar, where the GBP has gotten stronger. And we're at 134 right now with Japanese yen to the dollar. So this is something interesting because if we do break above this 134-ish level, that could mean we're going to be back at that 136. Now, this is a big comeback for the dollar as it was trading at 129. But it's not as a big roller coaster as we had last year when we went all the way up to 151, which has never been seen versus the dollar. Now, jumping into commodities, gold just hovering at support-ish level at 1994. Yesterday we were trading at 2,000, so we're about $6 range. Not a big deal. Okay, hasn't yet decided which way it's going to go, at least for the short term. Oil still just hovering around that $80 a barrel, between $80 and $82, and we just sold off just a little bit off of it. But again, it's still relatively unchanged until it breaks some sort of move here. It's just churning right now. Now, jumping into the U.S. markets, the Dow Jones just trickling lower just a little bit yesterday, but we're still at 34,000, so nothing really doing much here as the markets is consolidating in anticipation to next week's big earnings. Now, today we actually have Tesla coming out with earnings as well. So I'm going to review that also. But looking at the NASDAQ, okay, same thing as well. It hasn't changed its direction. It's still retracing. JP Morgan, this is the one that's really interesting, at 141. And continuing going from 121 up to 141. That's a big move for JP Morgan. And if there's continuation here, I would imagine that at 144 is the top of the move. So keep that in mind as we're looking at this. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, just hovering around 30K. Not doing much. Also, just like gold, is just hovering around that support resistance level. So keep that in mind as this is still expanding over the next week with some of our earning reports. Now, lastly, let's look at Tesla because it is coming out with its earning reports today at 184. Unchanged here, but keep in mind that if there's any kind of crazy kind of moves, just you do want to know about it. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.